What's up, folks, and welcome to an Indie Retro Ramble Fusion. So, don't be fooled by this startup screen here. This is not some long-lost arcade game that I've found that I'm showing off for you here. This is actually brand new, and you may recall a little while ago, we covered the absolutely fantastic Donut Dodo, which was a new game that was very retro-inspired, but was just drenched in personality and played great and was just a perfect example of how to do modern retro. Well, this is another entry, not from that developer, from another one, but the same publisher. And this is not quite as nutty and awesome as Donut Dodo, but I'm also really enjoying this. So this is Murtop, and if you know retro games at all, you're probably looking at this right now and seeing what this is a fusion of. Oh yeah. This game is basically Dig Dug meets Bomberman, let's put it that way. So there's no story, you're playing this rabbit, your goal is to take out all the enemies in the map and try to do it in a way that racks up combos and is stylish and gets the most amount of points possible. That's all it is. This is a game that could have been an arcade game back in the 80s. It looks like it, it plays like it, and it's got that kind of fun to it, which is fantastic. So yeah, what you're doing here is you dig through the levels, and there's also, you see these 4 carrots, which are kind of like power pellets in Pac-Man or something like that. Each one is worth progressively more points. If you can pick them all up, you'll get more points for it. There's also a bonus if you can beat a level in 15 seconds or less, you get extra points for that. And there are combos that stack up on the enemies, so you take guys out like that. But this plays exactly like Dig Dug and Bomberman. It's faster than Bomberman in terms of the way you move around, but you dig through the levels and you poop bombs, because this is a rabbit that poops bombs, because shut up, it's an arcade game. And you have to take out the enemies, and the levels get harder as you go. Oh yeah, and also you can drop rocks on their heads, which also gives you more points, and if you can do that in a combo, you get the big money. The big money indeed. And yeah, the levels will get more complicated, you'll see more enemies on screen. Because this is a modern game, it does have the capability to put more stuff on the screen at once than you may have seen back in the era of Dig Dug and things like that. The levels will get positively bananas after a while. And there's bonus stages every few stages as well, where you just have to grab carrots as they fall out of the air, and you get extra points for that. And really what you want to do here, because there are multiple enemy types, but what you want to try to do if you can, he moved, is you want to try to draw the enemies onto the same row so that you can stack up combos if you want. And this is the really cool push-pull of this game, right? Because, so there, I'm going to get a _2 there. There we go. The really cool push-pull of this game is that, you know, you have to balance what you want to do from a scoring strategy perspective, right? You want to try to spend the time to lure a bunch of enemies onto the same row so that you can get a combo, or do you want to try to rip through the level quick to get the extra bonus? Because I think it's like 5,000 points. So it's like, do you want to rip through the level really fast to get the extra bonus, or do you want to, you know, methodically lure all the enemies to one level and try to get a big combo stack, right? So like, here's a good option here. So you see we got these 2 guys in this row down there, and we've also got this bullet guy who will walk into that plane. And I also hit myself with my own bomb, so you know. So if I can wait and actually time this out really well, boom, we got a ×4 there, because there was another guy who walked in, right? So I got a lot of points for that. I got 1,600 ×4. That's more than the quick clear bonus, so it was worth getting those guys together. But you might not always be able to do that, and I got a 2-way combo there, because you see you can stack. If you have the level dug out, you can have it attack enemies on multiple planes, because the way the bombs work in this is, again, just like Bomberman, the ground can stop bombs, and the more ground you have dug out, the faster your bombs will travel. And then we also in some levels get this guy up top who you can't actually kill, but who can drop boulders that will follow a path down based on what you've dug out so far. And that's just a random hazard that you've got to deal with. Doesn't hurt the enemies, by the way, so don't think you can strategically dig a path to take the enemies out. That would have been kind of cool if you could do that, but crap. That would have been a neat mechanic, but I get why that's not in there either. So, and Yeah, you're really seeing the bulk of it here. You know, your goal is to get as far as you can and get as many points as you can and survive as long as possible. This is an arcade game through and through, except you don't got to put any quarters in it. And I like the way it's designed because it does play like an arcade game, but it doesn't make you feel like you have to put in a huge ton of quarters to progress either. It's not that it's not challenging, so here's the bonus stage. It's not that this game isn't challenging, it is, but the difficulty curve definitely doesn't ramp up the way old school arcade games did, because if you're playing this game, it's already got your money. They're not looking to get you to feed quarters into it. So it's challenging without being necessarily old school arcade hard, right? And it strikes a balance really, really well, I think. And it's interesting because, like Donut Dodo, this game is made, you know, practically every game that comes out these days runs on either the Unreal Engine or the Unity engine. But there's this open source engine that's out there called Godot, that open source meaning completely free. It's free to use it. It's free to sell games made on it. It doesn't cost anything at all. And it's something that you can just learn, you know, a lot of people have made games on it just learning it through YouTube videos and things like that. And what's really cool is it seems to be the engine that a lot of people making these old school, like 8-bit style arcade games are really preferring. Donut Dodo was made on it. The remake of the Spy Brothers remake that I covered a little while ago, that runs on Godot. And so does this. And I think it's really cool from, you know, someone who's really into this stuff. I think it's really cool to see another engine, especially one that's not commercial in nature, kind of getting a little bit of traction and adoption, and for this weird kind of genre. Because I've seen games that look like this made in Unity as well. You can do it if you want, but Godot seems to really, for whatever reason, I don't know why. I'd love, leave a comment down below if you develop in Godot. I would love to hear what about this engine makes it so good for this kind of game, because that fascinates me. If I had the time, I can't program for anything, but if I had the time, I wouldn't mind poking around in it and seeing what I could figure out. But yeah, it's really cool that we're seeing a renaissance of stuff like this. You know, is this game overly, you know, is this game particularly deep mechanics-wise? No. Is it something that's designed to give you potentially hours and hours and hours of fun, like a large, you know, RPG or open world game or something? No, it's not. But I think it's priced reasonably for what it's putting out there. And the thing about arcade games is I hear these stories all the time about when there's a big like retro gaming convention or an arcade show or something like that, of parents who brought their young kids from this day and age of mobile games and the Nintendo Switch and all those other things, who brought their kids to these old school retro gaming conventions, and they sit down with these games from 30 some years ago and they love them. Because those things were really well designed, and the human desire for play really can transcend time, and certainly transcend technology in many ways. A game doesn't have to have flashy AAA graphics or, you know, crazy shiny things every 2 seconds to be fun. And that's what I really appreciate about that is good game design can trump fidelity, and kids will enjoy old school arcade games that are well made, and games like this are an example of that in the modern era. You know, you don't just have to play the old school Dig Dugs or something like that. People are making stuff like those that have their own ideas and their own mechanics, and they're very well made, and they play fantastically, and they're just a really good time overall, and I'm so happy to see this kind of stuff out there. I'm talking about this because in terms of showcasing the game, you know, this is something that just takes a little bit of time to show you the meat of it, you know, what it's about. But I'm just really happy to see more of this stuff existing, and I find it really cool that a market has come about for stuff like this to succeed, which just a few years ago it couldn't have. This would have been so niche, there's no way anybody could have made their money back on it, but now you can. And I think that's really, really great. I'm gonna take a drink, you know, I'm gonna pull out my favorite complaint about games like this is that the only thing I wish this had, it has leaderboards, I wish they were online. This is a game that screams to have a competitive angle to it. And yes, there's ways you can compete with offline leaderboards in an online communal fashion. I know, but online leaderboards and or replays are things that I always would love to see. And I know it's not a trivial thing to implement, but other people have done it, and it's one of those things that I just think would add that little bit of extra flavor and longevity potential to the game. So that's really the only complaint I have, and it's certainly not something that's going to stop me playing it. It's a thing I wish was there, just because I think I would have enjoyed that. I mean, every game with online leaderboards, I just get my butt kicked by Van Alphen anyway, so, and I'm sure I will at this too. If he and I had a little offline competition, I'm sure in no time at all that guy would absolutely decimate me, because that's what he do. You're awesome, Van. This is a fantastic little title. Just like Donut Dodo, it's a little gem, and you can tell it was made by someone who understands, the material that they were inspired by and really has a reverence for it. And I just love seeing that kind of thing. And this is good fun. It's going to stay installed, and I'm going to play it, a ton. I'm playing the PC version, but I might even pick this up on Switch as well, just to have it there as well, because it's such a perfect, pick up and play for a little bit type experience. Again, kind of thing that the Switch or the Steam Deck is absolutely made for. And obviously this will run on anything. So if you're someone who's stuck in the low spec gaming world, this is obviously a great fit for you as well. So yeah, that is Murtop. It is great. It is well made. It is fun, and it is fun in that old school simple way that I am so glad to see making a resurgence in the world. This type of simple but addictive game, we need more of it, and we need more of it that isn't just monetized to hell and gone like mobile games. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. They do help out the channel a great deal. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, what do you think of this? Is this something that you're going to pick up that interests you? Are there other games like this out here that you haven't seen on this channel that you think I should cover? Because if they're out there, I want to talk about them. So this is a niche I very much like living in. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover other indie games as well as retro stuff over there, including a bunch of things that are better suited to streaming than YouTube. We have a fantastic community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks again, all, and I'll see you on the next Indie Ramble. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take her easy.